Right. Wild card weekend is behind us. Let's move on to the divisional round. The best game this weekend was definitely Commanders-Buccaneers. I'd say arguably it was the only good game. Both teams put up a fight, and it was uber close. Second best, I'd say, was Chargers-Texans. Best in the AFC, the one that kicked this whole weekend off. It was Friday, I guess you count that. But anyways, it was the Chargers looked pretty dominant in the first quarter, and then the Texans came back in the second quarter, and it looked like it'd be a good game, but then, like right before the half, Herbert threw another interception, and it just went all downhill from there. Packers-Eagles was third. It was kind of a good defensive game. The Packers made it a little closer at the end, but it was kind of just like, who cares, touchdowns at that point. It was all Eagles. Fourth best, Bills and Broncos. It started good. Opening drive touchdown for Nix and his college teammate Franklin. But after that, all Bills. The two worst games though, Vikings-Rams, worst in the NFC. The Vikings didn't put up a fight, just like in Detroit. And Steelers and Ravens, I'd say, was the worst. The second half, Steelers tried to make a comeback, but the first half was just so dominant by Baltimore, it didn't really matter. So moving on to rankings, I'm going to put the Vikings 14th. They look terrible. I'd probably put them pretty low to the bottom of all 32 teams at this point. Those last two games were a terrible way to end the season. The 14 wins for the regular season gives you hope moving forward, but it makes you question if Darnold's going to be the guy going forward. Steelers, extra shaky today, I'm sorry. Steelers, I'd put 13th, just nothing against Baltimore. 12, we're putting the Packers, no wild card win this year around. Good on them getting 11 wins and making it this far, but they kind of fell apart in the last few weeks. 11, the Chargers, and 10, the Broncos. Really hard for me to say since you both were uber close in the regular season and then got your butts kicked postseason. So I'm going to put the Broncos higher since they got a touchdown, but given they did nothing after that, I'm not going to argue with you if you put the Chargers ahead of them since they did finish higher regular season and they played a harder team. Well, no, the Broncos played the harder team. That's why I have them ahead. Number 9, I got the Chiefs, the lowest of the teams still in it. Like I said before, I just don't think that they've really earned a postseason run, let alone the number 1 spot. I think it's going to be like Tennessee a few years ago where despite getting that number 1 seed in the bye, they're going to get blown out in the divisional round. Originally, I had that being to the Texans, but I guess now it's going to be to... I originally had it to the Chargers. Now it's going to be to the Texans. Number 8, I got the Commanders, probably a little low given since they just won, but it was uber close against the Bucs, and they kind of just got lucky that there was a couple of fumbles there. If Baker hadn't dropped that one ball, and I know Baker's going to kill himself all off season, but man, they got real lucky there at the end. Number 7, I got the Rams, also kind of lucky that it wasn't really like they beat the Vikings. I think the Vikings beat themselves, but Rams defense, at least, I'll give them credit. They did a good job stopping the Vikings, and their offense was pretty good. Stafford was on it. I think maybe they got extra motivated by these fires in LA that they wanted to get the win. Number 6, I'm going to put the Buccaneers. I know they lost, but given that it was just like one unlucky turnover in the red zone, and they were playing great all game, it's hard for me to put them any lower. I feel like they deserve the win, but hey, it is pretty cool that the Commanders got their win against I think the Bucs were like the last team they beat in the postseason, but it was like 30 years ago, so it's kind of cool to be like, hey, remember us, and then get the win, especially because they lost to them this year too. Anyways, top 5, I got the Eagles, good win against the Packers. I think that the Lions are still superior. But after the bye, I guess we'll see how they are. Number 4, I got the Texans. I was dead on the Texans. I had them dead last in the rankings, but C.J. Stroud was on it and Justin Herbert wasn't. C.J. Stroud has proved himself, and the defense was on it too, getting the rare interceptions on Herbert. So it makes me very confident the Texans aren't just going to win; they're going to blow the Chiefs out. Number 3, I got the Bills. Number 2, I got the Lions. And number 1, I got the Ravens. I predict that the winner of Ravens-Bills will beat the Texans and then move on to the Super Bowl. It's hard for me to think that anyone can beat the Lions at this point, but I imagine it'll probably be either Bills-Lions or Ravens-Lions Super Bowl, which kind of rooting for Ravens-Lions just because if it was Bills-Lions, I don't know who to root for because I'd want both to win, but that could very well be the case. Looking to the 4 games we got coming up. Let's see. In the AFC, like I said, Texans blow out the Chiefs. Bills Ravens, that's going to be the best game to watch. I think that's the last one for the weekend. That's the one I think the winner is going to the Super Bowl. It's going to be very close. There's a reason these 2 QBs are the favorites to win MVP. Apologies to Saquon, but I think it's just a QB award at this point. Up train. And then in the NFC, let's see, Eagles-Rams could be close. But I think that I heard it's going to be a snow game. I think that benefits the Eagles with Saquon's running ability. So unless that Rams defense shows up like they did against Minnesota, I think Saquon's going to run all over them. And the Lions should be able to handle the Commanders. The Lions defense is pretty banged up, though. So if they win, I think it'll be a very close, high-scoring offensive game. But then that leaves, I'll just jump ahead. I say that Bills or Ravens beat the Texans, and then the Lions take care of the Eagles or the Rams. It could be an upset, but at this point it looks like either Bills-Lions or Ravens-Lions. But unlike this weekend's games, I think this weekend should be a lot better, given the teams that remain are all top tier, and I'm definitely looking forward to these 4 games this weekend.